is a show where three generations of family go head to head on a variety of topics. You got one Gen X, Kaya, one millennial, Noe, and one Gen Z, Chris. No matter what the topic, you can bet it's going to be up for debate.
And I'm a human being. My opinion is entitled to change over time as I grow, but let me know what you think about this comment. Right? Because I was thinking about this as you were talking. I don't think it's possible for you to be an American nationalist and not be a racist.
Agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
I don't believe you can be
because your nationalism, you can be a lover of your country. That's one thing. But for you to be a nationalist, that means that you now are
supporter of the ideals.
A supporter of the ideals of America. That means everything that was done to the indigenous, everything that was done to the 400 years of slavery and the subsequent 100 years after, the prison industrial complex, everything. You're pro that. Mm-hmm. So that means that you support everything that this country is all about. Now, I love the country because of the fact that if I'm in a lot of the other countries, for instance, here go America want to condemn, certain countries for their treatment of women and this, that, and the third, but now they in bed with the Saudis. Well, Saudis don't, women ain't got no kind of right over there. But guess what? It's in the interests of the Saudis. I mean, of the Americans.
Well,
and everything else.
Back to what Chris was talking about when he was talking about the business.
Yeah, it's in the interest of America to be in bed with Saudi Arabia.
And I agree with that. For me, it's one I feel like that idea of it being a business is partially why Donald Trump was voted for, because the thing that everybody that was voting for him kept saying was, he's an excellent businessman. He's an excellent businessman, which to me just meant he knows the corners to cut for the ultra wealthy people. So billionaires and beyond, or the extreme millionaires, he knows exactly he's going to make this work for you. That's
when the journalist Khashoggi was killed in Saudi Arabia and nothing was done. The American journalist was beheaded in Saudi Arabia and nothing was done. And then after Trump left office and Trump's son-in-law got a hefty payment from the Saudi government.
But this is what I'm saying when I talk like being desperate, personal interest, and all that other stuff. For me, I understand the business of things and I get all of that. My problem is, at some point, and this might be the whole rainbow cloud and whatever, at some point, one, you cannot only rely on this. Like, you're gonna just have to do the right thing because it's the right thing. Especially when you have the lives of however many billion people are in America. And that's the thing, I understand the business of it. I get all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, for me, I'm looking at folks like, all right, bro, so if these dudes come to you with something because it's good business, you're just going to let it rock, or you're just going to do this, or you're just going to go with it, or you're just going to give them that. At some point, and usually when that conflict occurs where somebody's like, I'm going to do the right thing because I want to do the right thing, you probably end up at war. Nah, I'm not letting them come in here, and we ain't giving them anything. They'll figure it out. And seeing as how in today's day and age, you can pretty much fight a war without leaving your home. That's just
and that's what most people say, that the wars now are not going to be with rockets and missiles. It's going to be with...
They sending missiles. They ain't got them silos for no reason. I don't remember the number, but in the Oppenheimer, they say there's around the globe, if I'm not mistaken, definitely over 1,000 different silos in different locations ready to go off at any moment if they say, yo, about that time. And usually a country only makes an ethical decision when something very wrong has happened.
Are you looking at me? Oh. You're following something across your screen?
That Skip Bayless licking his eyes.
No.
That's hilarious. No, I was looking at this thing. So in America alone, there are around 270 active missile silos across the country. Like nuclear missile silos. Not on some take out a small city, like nuclear missiles.
More silos in countries. Okay.
About
In states.
Not just in the US.
Which is very interesting to me because sometimes when I think about this stuff, I'll be like, all right, so hey, we're gonna send troops over. And in my mind, I'm like, it's only a matter of time before somebody says, yo, F them troops. I ain't sending nobody over. Go ahead and push that button.
How grimy is it to nuclear bomb twice a country and then be like, all right, let's make peace? You know what I'm saying? No retaliation from any of these countries, nuclear wise.
You bomb these countries and then you be like, well, come on, let's bring some bulldozers and stuff and let's build them up. Get a hammer over, let's bang this thing out, baby. You know, you calling Manny over here, come and bang it out. Like,
I mean, it's easy to do that when stuff. Like it's easy to do that to countries when it's like, hey, I'm Mike Tyson and you're a civilian. Like, I'm running up on everybody. Like, ain't gonna do nothing. Push the button. We'll smooth it over.
That's the thing. That gap has closed significantly over the years.
And that's what I was saying before. Like, countries are looking at each other like, all right, that's a big country. But if the four of us work together, it's not that big anymore.
And that's what they're doing now. They calling our bluff.
And this is what I'm saying. America has to fall at some point. We can't be top dog forever. It's impossible. No empire in history, every major empire has fallen at some point.
Yeah, and there's always an idiot that gets in the way of this, which is Donald Trump, because the public perception of America deteriorated in those 4 years in ways and to levels it has never in the past. There's always the person who's like, all right, I'm just going to go out here and make it worse for everybody. And I'm going to say to whoever I want to say it to and do. I'm going to talk about these people from this country and these people from this country. And I'm going to disrespect people in foreign countries. And I'm doing whatever I want to do because I want to do it. Ain't nobody going to stop me. I don't care. I'm rich. If y'all don't believe me, mess around and ask me to push the button and see if I don't press it.
And the thing is, a lot of people he's still the number one front runner, even with indictments,
which tells you how backwards people are. Like, this dude could literally be in handcuffs on his way to the booty house, and folks will look at you and be like, so is his name gonna still be on the ballot?
People are saying that he can still be president by being on house arrest in Mar-a-Lago.
And if you vote for him and you make him president, that says more about the voters than it does even about him. It tells you the state of the country. And to me, as other people from the outside are looking in, and they're just like, yo, they voted this dude in again. We're getting close. The time is
because people think that it's a witch hunt. Now, I, for one, do not believe in America's justice system. I, for one, do not believe in America's legal system. Because the fact that his lawyer that was out here capping, she was capping America about this piece every chance she got, talking about the election was stolen. And then as soon as she got before the judge, it was like, how do you plead? She said, guilty, Your Honor. So she was out here doing all these press junkets, talk about the election was stolen, and we're going to prove it, and we're going to prove it because I'm bringing all my so and so's, and we're going to prove it. We're going to prove it. Go before the judge. You as far as your election denied, how do you plead? Guilty. She didn't even get any time. They let her plea down.
I don't think people understand the severity of what's going on right now. Like, social media will have you believe that stuff is happening over there. That joint is at our front doorstep.
If it's happening over there and we over there, that joint is happening to you too. We over
there, and yeah, because Israel actually they called out their reinforcements, so they called for their
American peeps.
Yeah,
even
called for their troops. It's like, come on.
I think of stuff in like I just think of like mass shootings and stuff, and
which we just had another one. Lord have mercy.
And I say that to say, people tend to like. There's always like that person at the mass shooting for whatever reason that doesn't get shot, right? It's just like, oh, I didn't shoot him. Oh, because they were kind to me, or they did this for me, or they did whatever. Everybody else was this. Like, people are doing stuff because it's like these people treated me a certain way. If you run up on all these countries, there's always, I feel like at some point there's going to be that kid that saw, or like, even a better example, like the Avengers. And you look at these people and they're just like, how does the Scarlet Witch turn into whatever? And they're like, yo, there was a missile with Tony Stark's name
on it.
And at that point, it was like, it is on. To me, it's like, it sounds bad to say, and you kind of hope like this is in the very, 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 very far future, but to never happening. But it's like, at some point when you are in everybody's situation, whether you're funding it, whether you're helping them, like physically, whether you are speaking and you are backing them on television or whatever, there are people who are looking at you like, I bet.
But did you see Ilhan Omar's press conference, who is a congresswoman from Minnesota? She literally was crying, giving her speech about the fact, and this was right after the president had came out giving the support for Israel. And then he had to come out afterwards and be like, oh, my bad, Palestine too, because she's a Muslim American and she fled her country from war. She was just like, at the age I am now, she said my bed is still pressed up against the wall because of fear of missiles, or what I'm saying, even at the age where she is now. And she fled her homeland, and I'm not sure which Middle Eastern country she's from, but she said I think she was 7 or 8 when she fled, and she's a grown woman now, and she still has those psychological traumas now. So just imagine those kids that are there now and that are that are dealing with this day in and day out. Like, I saw a video on freaking Instagram. They were literally pouring cement into the water source.
Line. Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, those that don't know, Israel is an apartheid state. I am Jewish. Those that don't know, I'm Jewish. I ain't practicing, but yeah. Put your fist up, Chris. No?
He's like, I do not describe.
So, Amnesty International, and this was last year, said that Israel authorities must be held accountable for committing the crime of apartheid against Palestinians. The investigation details how Israel enforces a system of oppression against and domination against Palestinian people wherever it has control over their rights. This includes Palestinians living in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories, as well as the displaced refugees in other countries. Not nice, Izzy.
Can't really get mad at people for fighting back when you've been picking on them for so long.
Now again, Hamas, you bugging. You was bugging by the way you went about things. But I don't know.
Here's the thing: it's a historic example of you watch the wolf run after and try to eat the sheep, then blame the sheep for trying to fight back.
I
Like, you're supposed to sit there and get ate.
I actually watched a video again, I think it was last year. It was a Palestinian funeral procession, and the family was carrying the what do you call it? What do you call it? The coffin. Casket, yes. And the Israeli police was literally beating the pallbearers with their batons. The people were bloodied and still trying to hold up the casket at the same time. And it was just a funeral procession through the streets. And I'm just like, what could they have done? What could their crime be by walking through the street for a funeral procession?
We can't make sense of something that's nonsensical. This has been going on, like I said, for a historic amount of time, right? So as Americans, and we're not so far removed from the type of traumatic situations that we've had to endure, right?
And that's why it's so.
But that's the thing. As an American, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror now because of the times that we're in, and kind of say to ourselves, right? Just like these Palestinian citizens, what are you willing to go through for your freedom?
Come on. Blessed are those who ask the question, brother.
We're at that precipice.
Yeah.
We're at that tipping point where we're going to have to look at ourselves and truly ask ourselves, what are you willing to go through for your freedom? Because we're not necessarily in shackles or anything like that, but look at who our government is. Look at what
not physical ones.
Not a physical one. But this is what I'm saying. We need to educate ourselves on what's really going on. Social media ain't going to do it. Pick up a book, for real.
You ever see that exercise that they used to do with the elephant and the shackle that they used to wear around their foot? This is like a little latchel. Remember, the elephant used to wear a little latchel around their foot.
About, but what's the experiment?
They would say that it was psychological. Mm-hmm. That the elephant is strong enough to rip that latchel with just like a, it was the psychological aspect of it by him knowing that it was around his foot that he wouldn't try to escape just by knowing that it was there. Mm-hmm. But elephant of that size and that magnitude could easily be like, man, get your ass out of here and stomp the people, tear down the tents, whoever, and just go. But because he just saw it and knew that it was there to hold him in captivity, he wouldn't try to leave. So I really think that is where we are. I think we of people of color are. And I really hope that people of color understand that it is a people of color thing. Because a lot of people of color be like, oh, I ain't you.
Right, exactly. I was just about to say that. Yeah. You are a nigga everywhere you go.
Somebody's nigga.
Yes.
You feel me?
You may not be my nigga, but you somebody's nigga.
Oh man. Rest in peace, Paul Mooney, man.
Rest in peace, Paul Mooney. He could not live in this day and time.
But we need people like him, honestly. We need people that's willing to tell the truth.
Yeah,
we got too many people that's either, selling ideals for $1 or just don't care. Like, we need people that care. or at least to highlight the people that care, because I know for a fact that there are people that care.
To say the truth, even if it is offensive, but have a dialogue to kind of bridge the.
Because really, America will have you believe that to get from point A to point B for us, it has to be done peacefully, or it can be done peacefully. It's impossible.
Well, that's because that's how they want it to be done, because how they got it done, it was done by force.
But that's the thing. But like you said, how they want it to get done, right? But if we do it how they want it to get done, then it's not really getting done. You get what I'm saying? Because if that was the case, if we actually wanted to get to point B, us getting to point B totally contradicts what they want or what they've built for the last century and plus, century plus, 4 centuries. Us getting to point B completely contradicts everything that they've built up to this point. So for us to get there peacefully would just be going by within the guide rails of what they've already built.
It just be going, yeah, because it's the antithesis of the ideals
That's
of the
word.
Declaration of Independence. It's an antithesis of the ideals of Thomas Jefferson and some of the foul shit that he has said about us. It's the antithesis of the studies that they've done about Black people and our skulls, and that our skulls are smaller, therefore we're inferior when it comes to intelligence. We're inferior.
Phrenology, which is a false science. That's what that is.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if we went by what they said, what they say,
can't be done peacefully. It's impossible.
I think it's interesting that somebody would actually write something and say, you are what, 2/3 of a human?
3/5.
3/5 of a human. And all them slave owners spent a great deal of time inside of Black women.
But then say they want a pure race. But
That's
then they say they want a pure race. The idiocy and the lunacy of the stuff that came out of their mind and their mouths. You want a pure race, and you literally had to come up with laws subsequently after y'all kept on procreating with your enslaved women. Y'all had to come up with laws because of the fact that there was now so many babies that were of mixed race. You had to be like, any slave born of a slave girl and a slave master is therefore considered a slave. And is
we got these light-skinned niggas out here.
It does not inherit any of the slave masters, is not bequeathed any of the slave masters' riches.
It's crazy.
They literally had to come up with laws after the fact because they were just they was popping out.
Even the idea of like, I don't want to say this. I'll just say it. Even to me, when they talk about getting back to that 3/5 of a human, but then you're knocking up all these Black women and wanting, a pure race or whatever that's considered, whatever. Even the idea of buck breaking is like, I don't understand. Like it. I want to put this in a way that's not like super crazy sounding, but
it is crazy. All of it is crazy.
And who came up with that idea?
Yeah, like everything that y'all do, number one, is barbaric, but for some reason you're not the barbarian, but no doubt. Number two, it goes against everything that y'all say that you don't want. Like, I just don't understand it. It's literally like walking into somewhere. It's almost like y'all did the opposite to some degree of like Hitler and his whole situation. Like he was on some more, I'm getting rid of everybody. Yeah, I was just like, well, before we get rid of it, let me get some. Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
let me get these cheeks.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't understand that. It's just,
They've been playing a losing
which
game
is
since
just
the start.
facts. And to me, that just, if that's how you were running it, then essentially,
Y'all don't want to teach about what really happened during slavery? Well, you know what? That's why we here. We gonna give you the truth every time.
And just so we're all on the same page, the white gene is a recessive gene.
It cannot recreate.
Cannot recreate the white gene. You can get white from black, but if you start with white, you cannot get black.
No matter how hard you try.
That is a scientific fact.
No matter how hard you try.
Cross-reference it if you will. But the black man is the original man.
My son, not this one, but my youngest son was literally flabbergasted, and he kept on saying it in shock, like even hours after I said it, or after he found out, he was just like, Jesus was black. Jesus was black. But Mom, Jesus is black. I said, why don't you think Jesus is black? Because he's like white on all the pictures, and he's like white everywhere
Jesus
you
is
look.
black. Who's this?
Exactly.
I can hear his voice now. I am so.
Yeah, that's exactly how he sound. I said that's what's the name. That's what's the name, brother. That's what was this? Leonardo DiCaprio, Leonardo da Vinci. That's Leonardo da Vinci. That's Leonardo da Vinci cousin or something. His brother, cousin, or something like that. That's who that is. That wasn't no Jesus. Matter of fact, where Gaza, where Jerusalem is, that was inhabited by darker hued people.
This is what I'm saying. The average person does not educate themselves on these things. They just take the information that's given to them and they run with it. But common sense would tell you that if you were born and or lived on that sector of the planet, your skin was not going to look like Mel Gibson's. This could veer off into a whole nother conversation.
It could.
Yeah, when people send me stuff and it's like Christian stuff or whatever, and it's just like,
and you see the white Jesus,
and I get this dude on my phone,
I'd be like, yeah, I just gotta keep scrolling. I can't.
I could talk about this stuff. Even the religious aspect.
At one point it was kind of like whatever. When you actually think about it, it's like, it's, you know what it is for me? I think it's the idea of like the blatant disregard for the truth. And what I mean by that is like, if we read what the Bible said about the description of Jesus, it doesn't really need to say that he is a dark-skinned man to say that he's a dark-skinned man. I mean, I ain't never seen no white folks with hair of wool or skin of brown. And then, as you said, when you think of the history of like the Middle East and Israel and all this other stuff, I think people kind of forget where like the Bible takes place because they're just not thinking of the time. Or maybe they don't. Maybe it's purposeful. Maybe it probably is on purpose. But it's just like, well, so this is Israel. This is Egypt.
And not only do you have to think about the geographic location, but you have to think about what group of people inhabited that location during that time. Because you had empires that ruled different geographic locations during specific times.
Think about this. Let me ask you this question. when we read about, first of all, when we read about Pharaoh and Moses,
Mm-hmm.
at any point in time, when you think about it now,
Did I think about Charlton Heston
no,
on
no, I'm
on the
saying
chariot?
when I think about Pharaoh and Moses, I be like, ain't no way them niggas ain't black. Like, there's just no way that, like, it's just, I don't know, man.
Moses was also educated in Egypt.
Like, especially Pharaoh.
The black man.
Like, you mean to tell me you don't think Peter was black?
When that nigga sliced that dude ear off,
You know what I'm saying?
I was like, yeah,
Paul ain't
nah.
black. Went from Saul to Paul. That's as black as it gets. Like, I'm low, like I shouldn't have.
And because Peter had denied Christ 3 times, you know how we deny stuff. You be like, nah, I ain't know him.
Right.
Nah, I ain't know.
Who all over there?
He had cat 3 times before the crow cracked. I'm just
The crow crocking is crazy.
Oh, you know what? I really appreciate when we dive into historical stuff.
My only hope is that when we do that,
Mm-hmm.
that even if it's 1, 2 people, I'm not saying you got to take what I'm saying for fact, but I just hope that it sparks something in somebody to actually go research.
Go read it for yourself. That go through the pages of a book yourself and try to find some stuff out and be like, I wonder if what they was saying had some fact to it or had some type of basis to it.
I talk to people about this stuff a lot, and it's honestly hard, because a lot of people aren't willing to receive it, being that it goes against everything that they've learned up to this point in their lives. But it's just like I saw this video with Dr. Yosef, and one of the moderators that was a part of the panel that he was on was just like, all right, let's say that what you're teaching me or what you're telling me or whatever, let's say that I take that for fact. What does it matter? Right. And that's usually the disposition of anybody that kind of receives this information. It's like, all right, so now even if I learn this, what does it matter? Right. But the response to that is it changes your disposition not only towards yourself, but towards your community. Because it's just like, if you know that your history goes way beyond just shackles and slave ships, that you recognize that we created civilization, that we brought all these different things to civilization.
Why do you think they call it the motherland, people?
Completely different. Exactly. You don't look at yourself as subservient anymore. You don't look at yourself as,
Every time I be like, so we really were the first people on Earth? Yeah.
White is not
the bones. The first bones was found. Yep. Yeah. Go look it up.
Don't listen.
That's really
to the
when
lies.
it should start, at his age and earlier. It should.
Yeah, he ain't because he go to school with a whole bunch of them. He gonna know who he is. No, sir. In Israel and Palestine, one thing that we have grown up with, I think in the church, we've always prayed for the peace of Jerusalem. That's always what a prayer that we always were asked to pray. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Every time we would pray for the peace of Jerusalem. So aside from just making ourselves knowledgeable about what's going on, but also pray for peace and pray for the hearts of men, that they would turn away from war and that they would do what is just. Now, I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but I pray that, men would do what is just. I can still have that prayer, and I'm going to hold that prayer.
I pray for it. History tells me different.
I know I serve an awesome God.
Facts.
Anything else?
Educate yourselves, man.
Until next time, debaters. We love ya.
Okay. Full circle.
We don't know what the next topic is going to be, but you bet your baggy well.
Produced by Barry Gordy.
Yeah, but that was the time. That was the time to be alive. What?
Yo, telling today's 15-year-old that they could be the next Barry Gordy.
Anyway.
Comments like, who the hell is Barry Gordy? Excuse me, Barry Gordy.
Anyway. Until next time, we don't know what the topic is going to be. But we know that it's going to be up for debate.
That's almost like telling a kid you don't believe in his dreams. That's like so disheartening. It's like, who even is that? I want to be like Pharrell.
Anyway.
Don't forget to check out our website for all